I would ask Putin to hear me because President Putin, magkaibigan ko man siya, you are in control of everything. Anyway, you really started the rokos there na higpitan mo ang mga sundalo mo. Nagwawala killing, pati tayo nasasakta nga dahil nakikita natin pati civilian, pati yung mga bata. Yung kanyon mo, wag mong itutok doon sa residential. I am not picking a quarrel with anybody. I said Putin is a friend of mine. It is your moral obligation to see to it na the civilians, the innocent ones, children, yung the elderly, mga babae, pati yung vulnerable masyado sila at hindi sila marunong magtago. Nandyan lang sa bahay nila. Nasasaktan lang ako sa mga inosente talaga. Maraming nagsasabi na barihado kami ni Putin, papatay. Alam mo, gusto ko lang malaman ninyong Pilipino. Tapos mapatay talaga ako. Sinabi ko yan sa inyong noon pa. Pero pinapatay ko kriminal. Hindi ako pumapatay ng bata, matanda. Magkaiba ang mundo namin yung nangyayari ngayon sa Russia pati.
The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The two chambers of Congress will be holding a joint session this morning for the national canvassing of votes for President and Vice President. Mean Los Baños now joins us live from the Batasan to give us more details on this. Mean, good morning. What's the latest?
Hi, Charles. Good morning. The Senate and the House of Representatives are set to convene in a joint session at 10 this morning and will proceed to convening into a joint canvassing committee. This is the committee responsible for counting the votes for presidential and vice presidential race. The Senate and House leaderships expect that the canvassing will be finished in 2 days. Senate Majority Leader Mig Zubiri, who will co-chair the Joint Canvassing Committee, said they expect the procedures to not take too long. Zubiri noted that in the recent meeting he had with the House and Senate leadership, they plan to hold a proclamation of the newly elected President and Vice President by Wednesday late afternoon until evening. Senate President Tito Soto and House Speaker Alan Velasco will open the joint session. They will preside over the approval of canvassing rules, and this may take an hour or so, after which they will create the canvassing committee. They will suspend the joint plenary session and then convene as the Joint Canvassing Committee. The Senate contingent who will serve as Board of Canvassers are Mig Zubiri, Nancy Binay, Franklin Drilon, Amy Marcos, Ralph Recto, Grace Poe, and Pia Cayetano. While the alternates are Lito Lapid, Risa Ontiveros, Coco Pimentel, and Bato de la Rosa. Soto cannot be part of the Canvassing Committee as he was a vice presidential candidate in the recently concluded elections. On the House side, Charles, they have House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, Majority Leader Martin Romualdez, Representatives Boying Rimulya, Bambol Tolentino, Rimpi Bondoc, Stella Kimbo, and Sharon Gurin will form the House contingent for canvassing. The alternates will be Representatives Juliet Ferrer, Kiko Benitez, Manix Dalipe, and Johnny Pimentel. Zubiri expects the only procedure that could prolong the canvassing is that if there will be objections and motions by any member of the Board of Canvassers. And though they want the canvassing to be quick, he said they will entertain valid objections, and examples of that is if there are missing signatures or a mismatch in numbers and results. Such glaring discrepancies will lead the committee to defer the acceptance of the responsible COCs. Meanwhile, Zubiri said that based on their past experiences sitting as Board of Canvassers, if the number of votes for the winning presidential and vice presidential race are overwhelming, they see no serious objections. But he said they will still strictly inspect all COCs and they will look at the authenticity of the names and signatures and make sure the number of votes match. Senator Zubiri said that House Majority Leader Martin Romualdez already informed presumptive President Bongbong Marcos and presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte to be ready to go to Batasang Pambansa for a possible Wednesday proclamation. Charles?
Reporting live from the Batasan. After taking a short break in Australia, presumptive President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. gets back to work. this time meeting with diplomats from 4 countries with strong ties to the Philippines. Mobile journalist Julie Baiza gives us the front seat to the story.
Presumptive President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. had a packed day at his Mandaluyong headquarters. He met with 4 diplomats, beginning with Japanese Ambassador Koshikawa Kazuhiko. The two discussed infrastructure projects under the Japan International Cooperation Agency, as well as the deployment of Filipinos to Japan. South Korean Ambassador Kim In-chul also paid a courtesy visit. They talked about the revival of the Bataan nuclear power plant amid the country's power supply problems.
At yung nakapunta na rito ng mga expert na nuclear power para tignan ang Bataan Nuclear Power Plant para makita kung ano ba ang maaring gawin. We will now study their recommendations and their findings.
High-tech farming, medicine manufacturing, and microfinance for small businesses were the agenda during Indian Ambassador Shambhu Kumaran's visit. Lastly, in a courtesy call with U.S. Charge d'Affaires Heather Variava, climate change and the Mutual Defense Treaty with the U.S. were the topics.
Pinag-usapan namin the return or the re-signing or the extension of the VFA agreement and how it has to be redefined.
When it comes to his economic plans, though, Marcos admits that he might have little funding left for this year for another stimulus package. Recall that his cousin, Representative Martin Romualdez, endorsed by many to be the next speaker, proposed a new stimulus bill to be called Bayan Bangon Muli.
So meron pa tayong breathing room, pero konti na lang. And so that's why we will have to look to the new budget, the budget for 2023, which is presently being written.
Mobile journalist Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. In other news, authorities have launched a probe into a fast craft passenger vessel that caught fire in Real, Quezon. 7 people died and 20 passengers were injured due to the incident. Mon Gualvez tells us more.
At least 7 people were declared dead and dozens were injured after this fast craft vessel caught fire as it approaches Real, Quezon. While some passengers were able to jump off, some were said to be trapped inside the vessel. Authorities tried to revive Shirley Davilla's husband to no avail. They were with their grandchildren to visit family and celebrate their anniversary.
Napakasakit po talaga, sir, na mawala ng asawa. Kami po may binubuhay na 2 apo. Ito po yata ang pa-anniversary sa akin na tadhana.
Wally Calleja considers himself lucky to have survived.
Ako na wala ng malay Oo, nung ako hindi ko na alam. Talagang gawa na ako sa dami ng nainom kong tubig. At saka yung paglubog-lubog ko, pinipilit ko talagang lumutang ng kuwan.
Meanwhile, others recall how they jumped off the vessel despite having no life jackets.
Yung pong pag namin, lumutang po yung bag ko. Yung pong bag ko ang kinapitan namin parehas ng pamangkin ko.
Based on Philippine Coast Guard's initial investigation, the fire may have started due to engine error.
Ang napansin lang nila, biglang may pumutok sa ilalim sa namin sa engine room. At pagkasunod noon ay apoy na. It's either nag-overheat or may something doon na related doon sa engine ng barko na biglang pumutok.
A board of marine inquiry has also been convened. This is the second time Mercraft has been involved in an accident. The first was in 2017 when one of its vessels sank. This prompted the local government of Polillo to order the suspension of Mercraft's operations in their vicinity. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 11 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.